No one tried longer. Sunday's Daytona 500 victory lane has put a smile on this man's face that will last a lifetime.
ESPN Speed World is today at Daytona, USA. It's the day after the Daytona 500, and outside it is a miserable day. We have rain and wind, but it certainly can't dampen the enthusiasm of the crowd that has gathered here or what we are about to see in the next half hour. The official induction ceremonies of the winning car from yesterday's 500. I'm Bob Jenkins. Folks, who's this? Help me introduce him. Everywhere you go.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, folks. Well, give me your impressions of what happened yesterday.
I mean, it was genuinely exciting. I mean, it was a great race. When we think about great races, there's always a crash at the end. This was a great race with no crash at the end.
Now they're going to induct this car into Daytona, USA for the next year. It will not be available. What do you think about that?
Earnhardt said they can have it. I mean, he finally won the Daytona 500. He doesn't care if this car stays in there. Now, Larry McReynolds, Richard Childress, they probably got some things on this car they'd like to have, but Earnhardt doesn't care. He won the Daytona 500.
We'll, of course, be talking with him and Larry McReynolds and Richard Childress during the next half hour, but can you imagine what Dale Earnhardt has been through in the last 12 hours or so since he won the race?
You know, we talked to him on SportsCenter last night, and it was like 3.5, 4 hours after the fact, and he still was so excited he couldn't hardly restrain himself. I mean, he was genuinely happy. He said he'd won 31 times in Daytona, and this was the best victory ever.
You have been there. You have won the Daytona 500. Is there anything that compared to winning that to other races?
No. I mean, that is the single biggest thrill I've ever had, winning the Daytona 500.
Well, it all happened, of course, in the 50th anniversary of NASCAR, and you remember that we aired a series of programs called The 50 on ESPN, documenting the history of NASCAR. Well, those programs are going to be repeated on ESPN beginning Friday, February the 20th. The first one will run at 7:30. Then the second one will begin at 8:30 and 9:30. And then on Saturday, February the 21st, the last two programs beginning at 7:30. So get your tape recorders rolling. Saturday night before the Daytona 500, Jeff Gordon's DuPont Chevy is rolled out of Daytona, USA, where it's been on display since he took the checkered flag in 1997. Then Sunday morning, Jeff and crew chief Ray Evernham finally got the car back. But we'll have to see whether or not the engine will ever be fired again. Back at Daytona, USA for the induction ceremonies of the winning car in yesterday's Daytona 500. Benny and I are joined by the winning car owner yesterday. Big hand, everybody, for Richard. Can you believe this?
Not really. You know, coming here this many years and finally winning it and being with Dale Earnhardt to win it, it's one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, really.
We keep talking about that this was Earnhardt's 19th or 20th try. How many times have you been trying to win the Daytona 500?
You know, we were looking back, I think the first time I came here as a driver was 1973, and for Winston Cup I ran a Paul Revere race in '69, but you know, I tried a few years, and that's always every driver's dream is to win the Daytona 500, but then when you become a car owner, that becomes your dream too, and be able to do it with Dale Earnhardt, Larry McReynolds, and GM Goodwrench racing team was unbelievable, Ben. You've been there, you know.
I mean, you've won, what, 80, 90 races as a car owner. Is this the most satisfying victory?
I think it has to be one of the most satisfying. I'd put it at the very top of all victories. You know, our first championship was great, but as a single victory, you look back, I can remember our very first victory as a car owner with Ricky Rudd, and that was really great and neat. But to win the Daytona 500 and win it with Dale Earnhardt, who's put so much into it and been so close so many times, it's one of the most pleasing things that's ever happened to RC.
Do you hate to give up this car?
Well, you always hate to give up a car, but this one is very special. You know, we started working on it last August and put a lot of miles testing this car and really working on it, but it's going to be the greatest gift I think I've ever given to anyone is giving this to Daytona, USA.
Dave Marcus told me that he tested the car a great deal last winter. He said the first time he took this car down in the corner, he said, this is a great race car.
I can remember his quotes. You know, we had Dave Marcus drive it. Mike Skinner drove this car. Mike Dillon drove the car in testing. And but I got a lot of the credit has to go to Larry McReynolds. He put so much into it. And Bobby Hutchins from the aerodynamic standpoint. And Larry just working with the chassis and not just getting it close, but getting it to the thousandths. And a lot of it goes into just so many people. I can't sit here and tell how many people. But Larry McReynolds really kind of guided the thing with Bobby Hutchins' help, and just, you couldn't stop naming people that's really put an effort into this. But it all comes down to one thing, that steering wheel holder at the end of the day got the job done.
How does this change the attitude over at Richard Childress Racing? I mean, we did end the long winless streak, and you did it in style. How does this now change you toward the future?
Well, I don't think there's actually a change. You know, we're focused now trying to win our 8th championship. This is one step in that direction. It was a great race to win, but you know, we've got to accomplish another goal, and that's winning that 8th championship. And I think it shows the strength of any race team or a football team, baseball, anything. When you go under the adversity and things that we went through last year, and to come back as a winner, that really shows the strength of the team, not a guy that's on top winning. We've been there, and that's a little bit easier. But when you get down, come back and win, that's the strength of a real race team.
Richard, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on a great victory.
Congratulations, RC.
Okay, well, there was a huge celebration in Victory Lane, and in the pit area just after the checkered flag drop. We'll be back to talk with Larry McReynolds in a moment.
It seems some long-distance companies try to lure you in with a 10 cents a minute rate. But it turns out that rate's only good during certain hours. Or it's a short-term introductory rate. With Adelphia, 10 cents a minute means 10 cents a minute, anywhere, all the time, with a low monthly fee. So get 10 cents a minute with no strings attached from Adelphia Long Distance.
Ordinary classified ads can be a maze of black and white confusion. One description blurring into the next. Telephone numbers, prices. It's almost impossible to imagine something you can't even see. So give your imagination a rest. Tune into the Showplace Network and experience advertising on local television with the impact and appeal of sight, sound, and living color. You can't imagine a better way to buy or sell. So show it, say it, and sell it with media partners on the Showplace Network.
Every race we went to, we said we sure would like to have that car out of Daytona, USA. Asked Bill France a couple times if we could just borrow it, you know, just for the weekend, and we'd put it right back in there.
The carburetor, yeah, we would have liked to have the carburetor. Other than that, it was really, we kept good notes, and the guys do real good duplicating cars, but we'd like to have the carburetor of that one.
Sunday night at 10 p.m., and it's in with the new. The black number 3 rolls to its spot in Daytona, USA, where it will stay for the next year.
This is Daytona, USA. It's the day after the Daytona 500, and Dale Earnhardt's winning car is being officially inducted. This is where it will be for the next year. Joining Benny and me now in this segment is the winning crew chief, Larry McReynolds. The feeling this is a very popular victory, you know?
I think so, you know. It just, to know how bad it's storming outside, and to see these people here lined up outside this morning, but these people's what it's all about.
Larry, we heard a few minutes ago Todd Parrott say he wished he could have the car back 2 or 3 times during the year to race, and Ray Evernham said all he wanted was the carburetor. Is there anything specifically on this car that you wish you could keep?
Oh, there's a lot of things I'd like to keep off of it, Bob. You know, our shock man has got countless hours in the 4 shocks that's on this car. And you know what even made me scarier about it was yesterday morning. I said, Scott, I said, you know, we probably need to build a backup set of shocks to put in the pit box you know, for the race in case we have a problem. He says, well, you know, in this short a time, there's no way I can duplicate what's on that car, but I'll have something that's close. But, you know, I was actually looking how flat this surface was, and maybe one day when they're closed, if a couple of our fabricators could come down here and get some good measurements off of it. But, you know, it's a great to give it to Daytona USA and let people like these fans see it on a daily basis. Dale Earnhardt's first Daytona 500 winning car. We just got to work hard between now and Talladega and duplicate it, or make it better.
This car is exactly like it rolled on the line yesterday morning. You were not able to take one piece off of it.
Not anything. Now, of course, we had to go through several hours of post-race inspection. You know, they went under it, in it, took the engine completely apart, but our guys was here last night to 9 or 9:15, put it back together, had 4 or 5 inspectors watching us very closely, making sure every nut and washer that was in the race went back on it, and there it sits just like it took the checkered flag yesterday.
Larry, how scared were you when that problem developed right at the end of happy hour Saturday?
Well, you know, it's always scary. I guess the week had went so smooth down here, it was almost scary. And my guys and all talked about this. It's like, we just know something's going to go amiss here any minute now. But, you know, we put our race engine in to run for happy hour on Saturday, got in line very early. You got to start getting in line if you want to be at the first of practice about 3 hours in advance. And the minute Dale got on the racetrack, got the car up to speed, it was missing, hitting on 7 cylinders. Come in and had a broke push rod. It could have just been the push rod itself that was defected, cracked or something. They fixed it. We went on and run the rest of happy hour. Engine guys, Spinney and Danny, made a decision along with Richard to put a backup engine in there. Was obviously just as good as the race engine. Tuned it based on the knowledge they had from Thursday's 125s, and obviously look at those pipes. They had it tuned just right. It's pretty white.
I checked those pipes, and that's the first thing I looked at this morning. That looked like it was right there.
Right there. Leaned on it, got good fuel mileage yesterday. Actually couldn't use the fuel mileage we was getting because, again, you have to pit with some dancing partners. We could run 7, 8, 9 laps further than some of the other cars, but we needed to pit. Unless it worked out that the fuel mileage could help us win the race, there's no sense in just sitting out there running the distance on fuel, running by yourself, obviously.
Larry, congratulations. I know it's been a while since a victory, and boy, what a way to break the streak, huh?
Oh, it really is. You know, Dale's and Richard's. Seeing the look on Richard and Judy Childress' face, their first 500 victory, that was awfully special, too.
Congratulations, Larry.
Thank y'all.
All right. Well, guess who is next? When we come back, Dale Earnhardt's going to be here.
Screaming, pointing, and praying are all acceptable ways for a NASCAR fan to show their support. Now, there's another. Drink accordingly.
With ESPN magazine coming out, I really hope they take every precaution to avoid the coveraging situation. Something that's plagued me my entire career. Tiger beat in '93, I sprained my ankle. Model Railroad of '96, I went into a 5-game slump. Cat Fancy almost ended my career. I know one thing, I'm never doing Cat Fancy again.
Motorhome last night. You think we had it in? Yes, sir.
Dewey can't hardly walk. He'd be there. Most of them will slip up there and then...
Big man. Thanks,
Monkey. Come on with me.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Richard, win all of England. It's not like winning the Daytona.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Well, looks like it was a long night for Dale Earnhardt, but probably an exciting one. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Daytona 500 in 1998, Dale Earnhardt.
From the man, okay?
It's only a half-hour show.
What do you think, Benny?
This is pretty exciting stuff, isn't it?
I'm telling you, it's the greatest feeling I've felt in my career in a long, long time. That first championship, the first win, the first championship, all that's great. Coming down here for 20 years and not winning the Daytona 500 and finally winning it, I wish everybody could experience this. This is the greatest feeling. I've talked to all my relatives, all my fans, everybody all night long, just different phone calls. Ronnie Bouchard called me, just different people. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Talking about how we won. Had the champagne. We've had a big time.
Had you had any sleep?
Yeah, a little bit. An hour or two. You sleep an hour, you wake up and think about it a little bit. You go back to sleep and think, man, I've had a great night. Had a great night.
What about the car? You don't get to use this car anymore for a year.
We built it just for this reason.
You built it just for this reason to bring
right here. Built it for this right here.
Right here. It kind of blends in, the black and white. It's black and white.
They built this for us. They just, wanted to make sure it would do okay and everything. We tried it out a couple years practice before we put our car in here. Really, though, when you think about it, it's the 40th annual Daytona 500. The 50th anniversary is the 60th race since I won a race. 20th year coming down here. Pretty awesome stats.
It did. Pretty awesome.
Everything adds up right, don't it?
It added up to number one.
Yeah, and Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt did the Daytona USA commercial.
Yeah.
Dale Jarrett won. Yep. Jeff Gordon won. Dale Earnhardt won now.
I don't see any dents on this car.
There isn't a scratch on it.
On the back end. Back end. Right back here. Mike Skinner pushed me along. Jeremy Mayfield touched me a little bit, but man, we was going. I tell you, Mike Skinner helped me on that last restart get out front and stay there, and it was great to have a teammate.
He knocked you by him, didn't he?
He pushed me right on out there, man. And that's what all the planning, all the work you do, trying to get here. You win the Daytona 500. You do it with teammates or help from whoever, but it paid to have a teammate. But the whole team was the winning this race was Richard Childress Racing. The 31 car, the 3 truck, everybody, Dave Marcus, everybody worked so hard testing. This race car right here started out testing last year. Last November, it tested in Talladega, brand new race car. We built it, won 2 races, actually, the qualifying race. Won the Daytona 500. It's here in the museum. 1 race, it's brand new, it's here.
Dave Marcus told me the first lap he made on the racetrack, he knew this was a good race car.
He told me, he said, that's a good race car. It drove better than any other race car. Now, how do you build race car after race car and one drives a little better? This one drives better than any race car I've drove at Daytona.
There are some things inside the car that will remain there that I'm sure are very special to you. Tell me about them.
Well, of course, your helmet and all that stuff, the gloves stay in there. But Saturday afternoon after practice, the last practice, went in and met 5 Make-A-Wish kids. And a little girl was in a wheelchair. She's got all these problems. She's disabled, about 8 years old, tiny little girl. And I can't remember. I wish I could remember her first name now. Everybody's things to run together. But the little girl gave me a penny and said, "You're going to win the Daytona 500. This is your good luck penny." I told Larry, I said, "Larry, give me some glue." And he gave me some 3M glue like you glue the lug nuts up with. And I stuck that thing on the dash. He said, "Well, you use more glue and you got penny." And his glue's all out around it. But it's stuck on the dash. Won the Daytona 500. Yep. Good luck from her. Thank God for angels. And I think she's our angel here. And that's awesome. But everything in that race car is brand new. The helmet's not new, though. I wore that helmet to practice and test, so we broke it in, and everything's right.
You don't get to use that helmet anymore, though. It's gone.
I got another. I have to beat on it with a hammer, though. Maybe right. I have to work on all my helmets. Even the guys lost their cameras from CBS. The cameras, everything's in there.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to get some questions from the audience. We're going to have also a special presentation to Dale. First of all, though, we'd like to remind you about Big Monday, which is coming up on ESPN tonight. At 7:30, the number 17 Syracuse team plays Villanova. At 9:30, number 4 Kansas against Colorado. And at midnight, number 9 New Mexico against UNLV. That's NCAA basketball on Big Monday. Back at Daytona, USA in just a moment with Dale Earnhardt.
This is NASCAR 98. I'm in a groove with new scuffs. Talk fast.
Are fans that loyal to their driver's sponsor?
Nate.
What?
NASCAR 98, the ultimate judge. EA Sports. It's in the game.
What?
The more the world changes, the more you have to learn just to keep up. That's why I'm studying electronics engineering technology. ITT Tech has the classes I need for the associate's degree I want, and my class schedule makes it easier for me to keep working while I go to school. The world isn't standing still. Neither should you.
Convenient class schedules, focused courses. Take control. With a degree from ITT Tech, call 1-800-942-0099 today.
NHL Center Ice. Up to 30 games per week. Order NHL Center Ice pay-per-view package. Now a half-season offer at a reduced price. To order, call DirecTV at 1-800-GET-SPORTS or PrimeStar at 1-800-PRIME-STAR.
ESPN Speed World coverage of the induction ceremonies of Dale Earnhardt's winning car into Daytona, USA is brought to you by Daytona, USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction. And we're back here at the induction ceremonies, and Dale Earnhardt is going to take some questions from the hundreds of people that have gathered here this morning for this ceremony. First of all, however, this is Gatorade Victory Lane here at Daytona, USA, sponsored by the good people at Gatorade. And Ed Schull from Gatorade has a very special presentation to Dale. Tell me about it, Ed.
Dale, all the folks at Gatorade are extremely delighted to have your car, the number 3 car, in Gatorade Victory Lane for the next 12 months for all the fans to enjoy. You know, NASCAR is an all-family sport. Daytona, USA is an all-family attraction. We thought what better way to commemorate this event than to present you with this picture we took yesterday in Victory Lane.
And we're going to have Dale unwrap it here very quickly.
I think I can. Thank you very much.
That just about says it all, doesn't it, Dale?
Yeah, that says it all. I tell you, Gatorade's been so awesome. I won that qualifying race 9 straight races in a row. 9 years in a row, and that's awesome. Winning the Daytona 500, getting this car into the Gatorade Victory Lane here in Victory Circle. This is awesome. Thanks, guys.
Benny, what do these people want to know?
I don't know. Who are you, sir?
Walt Cook, Wyndham, Minnesota.
Thank you very much.
Minnesota. What would you like to ask Dale Earnhardt this morning?
What was his best time on the track? I mean, when he had the most fun.
When yesterday did you have the most fun? When you took the checker flag, Dale?
When I had the most fun?
Yeah.
Well, I really had a great day all day long. I had a lot of fun all day long. The time I enjoy racing as much is in the car, doing it, actually racing. That was a tremendous race, an exciting race. But what makes it so exciting is you win. But Victory Lane was awesome, and coming down the pit road with all the crews coming out. BP, could you believe that?
No.
I mean, that was unbelievable. Your peers coming out and giving you high fives. About broke my hand off, my arm off, but they give me high fives, and different car owners and crew chiefs coming in, and just, man, I knew it. Todd Perry, I told you this is your race. Andy Petrie, just numbers of them. I got up there and done me a little donut in the grass, and got a little piece of that Daytona 500 logo out there in the grass. I did that for Mr. France and all the fans. And, I was having having a great time. I really was.
All right, let's ask someone else. Do you have a question?
Sure. When did you know you really had it won?
When did you know you really had the thing won?
When I got to that checkered flag, the white flag. and you know what, Benny? After I got the checkered flag, I mean the white flag and the caution, I slowed down, and you know I knew the spin was out of the racetrack, and I slowed down, and I said, well, why am I slowing down? I'm gonna get back to the checker, and I shoved her up in third gear and took off again, and come back to fourth and run back around, and I couldn't wait to get to that checkered flag. That was awesome.
Well, it was awesome. It was terrific. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
So many things yesterday. You broke the winless streak, and you stopped the endless media every year from coming to you and asking you, when are you going to win that race?
Go ask Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte. Don't ask me no more.
That's right.
Out of here.
Does this complete the career? Now, I know you won championship number 8, but does this sort of give you everything that you want in terms of winning a race?
Well, it sort of makes you career complete, but still, we want to accomplish more things, like win more races and win more championships. And I tell you, if you've seen the look in these guys' eyes at Daytona, Larry McReynolds, Richard Childress, the whole crew in behind, me included, we wanted this Daytona 500 bad. We wanted it bad. The race fans wanted it bad for us. We went out and won it. But you'll see that same look every week. Them guys on the other teams are in trouble. They're in trouble. We are hard after that championship. We're going to work hard every race. We got a whole good program together in our engine program and our cars. Everybody on the team is just really pumped up, really pulling together.
What do you think, gang? Huh? Yeah! Is coming up next. Thanks for joining us here at Daytona.
It's tougher on myself, and it's tougher with the press and everybody saying, well, he's never won the 500. And that's the question you always ask, and you get all the stuff about the 500 because I came so close and haven't won it yet. And I'm in a contender to win it sometimes. I didn't think I had it won till the checkered flag fall, and I didn't win again, so I got to try the 15th year. So what the hell?
Bill, I don't believe it!
I ain't never won the Daytona 500.
And you still ain't?
I ain't going to Disney World either.
Unbelievable.
Daytona, ain't it?
I mean, I just can't believe it. You get in this situation so many times and still can't win.
Yes, you can win this race, and yes, they'll remember you from here on out about winning the Daytona 500. It's awesome. It's one of the most awesome races I ever won. You can win races down here. All the races you win, anywhere, it's not like winning the Daytona 500.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Kernan, along with Professor Benny Parsons. Today, we celebrate President's Day, although a lot of racing fans consider this Monday after the Daytona 500 as Dale Earnhardt Day. And as you saw earlier, that celebration began Monday morning at the ultimate motorsports attraction, Daytona, USA. That's where Earnhardt's Daytona 500 winning car will reside for the next year. And, of course, Bill Weber was there to watch the historic moment.
Dale Earnhardt's first day as the reigning Daytona 500 champion began early. An 8 a.m. meeting with the media before visiting his race-winning car and many of his fans at a packed Daytona, USA. The overnight hours gave Earnhardt, his car owner, and crew chief a chance to reflect on the overwhelming feeling of accomplishment.
It's all sunk in, and it's really real. Just had a lot of people call last night and called a lot of people, but just over, Hornaday called me, Ronnie Bouchard called me, people that means a lot to you, good friends, and talked to all my family, all my kids. Everybody's great.
To be able to be with Dale Earnhardt to win it was unbelievable, as a car owner to win, and the emotions was heavy, the tears was flowing from all of us, and it was great.
When you make a change like I made 14 months ago, it's no different when you make any kind of change in any kind of business. Till you show some signs of success, there's this little voice that haunts you that says, did you make the right move? Can you win races here? Can you do it with this group? Can this group do it with you? What's going on? Why hadn't you won? Well, hopefully a lot of those little voices is gone now.
Earnhardt's win is a blend of private and public pride. A celebration for the man, another step forward for the sport.
I think it's a very popular win for the whole sport. I think some of the quotes from some of the different drivers, needless to say, each one of them would prefer to win the race himself. But if he couldn't do it, I think just about everybody out there was kind of pulling for Dale.
Emotionally yesterday, I was drained emotionally. I don't get that way very often. My batteries ran down because I wanted it so bad for Dale and Richard. Emotionally, I wanted it so bad for them, I just can't. It's hard to put into words.
Even the day after Dale Earnhardt's dramatic win in the Daytona 500, it's still hard to put all the emotion and excitement into words. But perhaps the local paper said it best. First, at last. At Daytona, USA, I'm Bill Weber.
Thank you, Bill. Benny, how about that Earnhardt? Could you believe the way everybody lined up on pit road to congratulate him?
Yes, I could, John, because that happened to me in 1975, and I won the Daytona 500. But that was before the days of high fives. They just basically, as I rode down pit road, all the crews just kind of clapped as I went by. And that was probably the most special moment of winning the race. And I'm sure to Dale Earnhardt, that was one of the most special moments of the day when all those guys came out and touched flesh with him. He told me this morning that some of those guys almost knocked his arm off as he rode down through there.
You know, he and his crew had been saying all week long, we got a good car, we got a good car. As I watched that car during the race on Sunday, it wasn't just a good car, it was a great car, wasn't it?
It was a great car. And you know, Dave Marcus, I talked to Dave Marcus yesterday afternoon, and I guess he was the guy that made the first lap in that very car, that number 3 going there. When they built the car, he went to Talladega, Marcus did, and tested the car. He said, the first time I took our car down in the corner and turned the steering wheel, I knew that was a great car. He said, because that car went where you wanted it to go. It didn't have a mind of its own. It followed your lead.
And Earnhardt's pit crew also helped out that last pit stop. I thought was crucial. You had to get out front for those last 20, 25 laps, didn't you?
Track position is so doggone critical at Daytona. Watch as he comes in. Got Rusty, Jeremy, and Earnhardt. And you know, Earnhardt has a new rear tire changer this year. Hollywood or Mark Armstrong has gone over to the 2 car. He's changing the rear tire on the 2 car. They go down about exactly the same time, but Earnhardt is a little bit farther down pit road, and he will beat them all out. And that was the key to winning the race, along with Skinner going up and knocking him by those guys when they got alongside of him.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would have passed him out there. I think that car would have been just extremely wide. Don't you think so?
Real wide.
You know, most of the former Daytona 500 winners in the field, Benny, didn't really have a very good day. The defending champ, Jeff Gordon, looked like he might have a shot at repeating until his engine went sour late in the race. 3 of the former winners were all basically taken out of contention at one time, and that was during this pit sequence when Dale Jarrett got into Jeff Bodine, and then Derek Cope, the 1990 winner, made contact right there with Jeff Burton.
It looked to me like Burton pulled in his pit way too early, you know. I was trying to get out, and he was pitted quite a ways up there. And I saw Jarrett turn around. I was trying to watch him, and I guess I didn't see him coming. And then, you know, he just tried to get in a little early, I think. And we clipped tail over there and hurt the car. You know, we didn't have nothing left after that.
Jarrett and I just collided. You know, he was leaving Fitz, and I was coming in, and he didn't see me coming, and he swerved out and hit me in the side and messed my car up, and I guess it messed his up too. It's a shame. He was running good, and we had a really good car.
I was trying to hold my line and give Mark Martin a chance to get out of his pits, and somebody was coming in, I guess, and they decided they needed that space. Or maybe it's my fault. I don't know.
Now, Benny, you know, they've got that headrest up there. You really can't see. If they're in your traditional blind spot on your car, you're not going to see that car behind you. You don't know they're there unless someone tells you, right?
Well, you have to look at your rearview mirror. You have to check in the mirror as you pull out of the pits. But I think Dale Jarrett, as he was going out, we talk about track position so much. See, Mark Martin leaving, well, he knows if he follows Mark Martin, he's going to lose track position. And he had a run on Mark. He's going to beat him out of the pits. As he starts to pull around Mark, right there, Jeff Bodine is coming in the pits, and they collided. And there are the 30 cars. Watch as he hits the 99 as he starts to leave the pits. Once again, 30 car, Derek Cope, his pit stop is over. He's starting to lead. And again, Jeff Burton is pitting about 1 or 2 pits in front of him. He gets there, he dives in. You know, who's at fault? everybody's at fault or nobody's at fault because those things are just going to happen on pit road.
Well, Kenny Schrader headed into the 500 with a cracked sternum and a shot at $1 million bonus in Winston's No Bull 5 program. He fought the pain all race long and finally wound up in the 4th position. And that puts him in line for the next No Bull 5 bonus.
I'll tell you what, we got to get us a teammate. It was really nice seeing Rusty and Jeremy. You know, both of them have kind of struggled at some of these places, and they both were there right all day and worked together. And we're going to do that same deal next year with someone.
If you break your sternum next year on Thursday, you going to run the 500 on Sunday?
Hell yes.
You know, Benny, he gets through the 500 okay, but I remember Earnhardt saying that, you know, Daytona's no big deal for an injury like that. Rockingham this weekend, what's it going to be like for Schrader?
Rockingham's going to be rougher than Daytona, although those bumps in Daytona and as soft as they spring those cars, as much as the car bumped at Daytona, I would imagine that hurt Schrader. And I think when I talked to him, you could see the pain in his face. Yesterday was a tough day on Schrader. Now then, I think by the time they get to hopefully by the time they get to Rockingham this weekend, he will be A-okay.
Well, Rusty Wallace had the kind of race in the Daytona 500, I'm telling you what, that he has to have dreamed of for all his racing career. Wallace has gotten a reputation over the years of not running well in the restrictor plate races, but it appears as if those days are over. Rusty drove to a strong 5th place finish with a little help from his teammates.
Man, Jeremy's car and my car ran great all day long, so what a 2-car team effort this was. We're finally back on track, I believe, Benny.
Was it great to have a teammate there when you needed one?
You damn right, because it's war out there, man, and it's every guy for himself. When that 18 car got underneath me coming off a turn 2, I said, oh, man, we got a problem here. But finally, Jeremy helped me out. A couple cars got behind me. We shot back to the front again, so it was a real shootout.
You know, a lot of people had their doubts about the 2-car team working, Rusty and I, and they showed today that we can do it, and we're going to do it. And he and I both have become good friends over the winter, tested a lot, and it's a class act for both teams.
Sunday marked Rusty's 16th start in the Daytona 500, and you can see he pretty much had a career day, at least for him. In his first 15 appearances in the Great American Race, Wallace posted the best finish in 7th and had led a total of 7 laps Sunday. He led 4 laps. And you know, Benny, we have seen what teammates can do on a restrictor plate track. Rusty and his new teammate, Jeremy Mayfield, worked very well together. Is that going to be the next superpower in NASCAR?
Well, I don't know. I think that Jack Roush with his 5 teams are going to have something to say about that. And we haven't heard from Yates yet. You know, Kearney Irwin, Dale Jarrett, they're going to run good before the year's over. I think that the Rusty Wallace, Jeremy Mayfield, that was the first team. Penske South was the first team to work with the Taurus. And I think that really helped him in the Daytona race. Now then, we know that Roush, Yates, the other 4 teams have got some work to do to catch up. But let's face it, they will catch up.
But it's the Daytona 500 is only one slice of what this 33-piece pie that is awarded at the end of the season with over $1 million in the Winston Cup Championship. How did it get off this year? I mean, what do you think about that Daytona 500, just overall?
It was terrific. I think that our 50th anniversary, NASCAR, ours, I'm part of it, we're all part of it, NASCAR's 50th anniversary got off to a great start. Really and truly, there couldn't be a better driver win as far as the fan reaction is concerned. Again, folks, I don't care who wins. I hope that you realize I don't care who wins, but for the sport, it was great that Earnhardt won the race. He finally got that monkey off his back, and that's all we're going to talk about for the next 2 months. Earnhardt won Daytona.
I don't think it was a monkey. It was this gorilla, and it's been sent back to the zoo. Benny, stick around. We got more to talk about in just a few minutes. Still to come on RPM tonight, we run close together with the Speed Demons in this week's Speed Shots. And when we come back, we'll hear more from the man in black who's sitting on top of the racing world once again.
In racing, the engine is everything.
What?
It's the driver. A driver will never see a finish line without a great engine.
The greatest engine will never see a victory lap without a great driver.
At least they agree on Haviland Formula 3 motor oil, the same oil you can buy right off the shelf. And also try Haviland Extended Life Antifreeze.
The engine's the first thing to the finish line.
Not in Indy cars.
The blizzard was the worst at 5.
For a limited time, get 2 McDonald's Big Macs for just $2.
There's nothing in the world that I won't do what I have to do just to get to you.
Get to Mickey D's and get 2 BP Big Macs or 2 Morning Fresh Sausage McMuffins with egg for just $2.
2 Big Macs, please.
For here or to go, sir?
Proud to feed the world's Olympic athletes.
Has frequent heartburn been a persistent problem for you? Have you treated it but still suffer on 2 or more days a week? Do you keep getting heartburn even though you've changed your diet? Your heartburn may be due to a potentially serious condition called acid reflux disease. Ask your doctor if Prilosec is right for you. Just 1 Prilosec capsule daily can provide 24-hour acid control. Prilosec is not for everybody. Only your doctor can decide if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. To learn more, call this number, ask your doctor or pharmacist, or see our Life magazine ad. Want 24-hour acid control with just 1 daily capsule? Ask your doctor about Prilosec.
RPM2Night is being brought to you by Land Rover Discovery, the 4x4 authorities.
Dale Earnhardt won a single race record $1,059,105 with his victory in the Daytona 500. In fact, a record $7 million purse meant big paydays for just about everybody in the race. Second place was worth more than $500,000 to Bobby Labonte. Well, I'm sure Earnhardt appreciates the big payday he came home with. If you took away that money, he probably wouldn't really mind because now he's finally won the Daytona 500. And you know, when I look back at all the different times Earnhardt has been interviewed, the talk he had with Bill Weber Sunday night is one to remember.
You come down pit road after winning that race, it was so awesome, the lap, riding around, coming back, all the cars coming back, congratulating you, Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, all these guys. You got that feeling, you got the teary eyes, and then you come down pit road and not one team, but all the teams are out on pit road high-fiving. Wore my hand out. Got down, done me a donut or two in the 500 out there in the green grass and come in victory lane. It's awesome. It's one of the most awesome races I ever won. You can win races down here. All the races you win, anywhere, it's not like winning the Daytona 500. I've won 30 races here. The Daytona 500 was great. It was overshadowed all of them.
You've won everything else. Is this the biggest moment of your career?
It's the first. Everybody down here this week been saying, hey, it's your race, this is your year, this is your year. Watching Elway win that Super Bowl has pumped you up. It gives you that confidence, that determination. We came in here, that 3-team, Larry McReynolds, Richard Childress, everybody come in here with that determination, that look. That's what it took.
And this takes you there because last year, Richard Childress put together the dream team, Earnhardt and McReynolds, and the team didn't win.
Well, it just took a few more ingredients. Larry and just took a little bit to work with the car, and he and I just kept getting better and better. My confidence in Larry's always been there, and I think the confidence in me's always been there. But just the mix, just the understanding of what really we're looking for. We came down here with 3 races under our belt with, you know, what we could tune on with that car and making it better, and we did that. We tuned on that car, and that's what won that race. Just, you know, that minor tuning.
This week you were named to NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers of all time. So was your father. What do you think he'd be thinking right now?
Well, I'm sure he's proud, and hopefully yeah, that was an honor to me, but it was really made me feel good that Dad was in it too. I mean, that was the 50th greatest drivers. I mean, pretty impressive to be a part of that, and your dad too. And then you go out and win the Daytona 500 on Sunday. That's pretty good weekend.
And he'd be thinking that's pretty special for you.
Pretty special for both of us. For the whole family. Mom called me in Victory Lane. Winning this race now, they can't say anything. We've got them all. We've got all the marks up there. We can talk about winning all the races and, you know, that 7th championship. The 50th anniversary of NASCAR and win the Daytona 500 that year, 1998. Go out for that championship. We're going for that 8th championship. The confidence level in this race team is just tremendous.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
You know, Benny, what a great interview. And I think of all the times that, like, I've asked Earnhardt questions and gotten a, yeah. I mean, just, it's unbelievable what winning the Daytona 500 does to open up the personality, isn't it?
I was really shocked. I've seen Earnhardt last night, again this morning, and all you got to do is just prod him a little bit. And he just starts talking and keeps on talking because he was so genuinely happy. And you're right, normally Earnhardt has got those one-word answers, but I mean, he is just so incredibly happy at finally winning Daytona.
But I bet he and his crew aren't happy about losing that race car for a year. They'd love to have that for the other 3 restrictor plate races, wouldn't they?
I'm sure they would. As a matter of fact, Larry McReynolds told me, he said, I'd give anything, just anything to get those 4 shock absorbers. You know, really, shocks are now the black magic in making those cars go around Daytona, Talladega, and about all racetracks. And Larry said, we have spent hundreds of man-hours on those 4 shocks, getting them exactly right. And now they're sitting there for 1 year in Daytona, USA, and he can't get his hands on.
Yeah, and Jeff Gordon finally gets his car back that won the Daytona 500 last year. Of course, I thought he was going to get up there and put up a fight with Earnhardt in the late stages on Sunday, but I think he dropped a cylinder, dropped a valve, as a matter of fact.
That's exactly right. And Jeff Gordon was a car to be reckoned with at the end of the race, and just about the time he looked like he was going to get up there and mix it up with Earnhardt, boom, he goes on 7 cylinders. And then he gets an unlucky break. He gets his number drawn out of the hat, and they had to tear the engine down for NASCAR.
Well, and I was talking to the crew today, and they've got a good car, the one that actually won at Rockingham last year for this race coming up, and that's the one they're going to take back. And speaking of Rockingham, Benny, stick around, because coming up next, we're going to pick Benny's brain to find out how the rules changes will affect this weekend's race at the Rock.
This is non-stick?
This is home shopping non-stick.
Oh, this is durable.
This is home shopping durable.
This is a warranty.
This is a 55-year warranty. This is Ultrex cookware. Watch Saturdays at noon Eastern, exclusively on the Home Shopping Network.
Ordinary classified ads can be a maze of black and white confusion. One description blurring into the next. Telephone numbers, prices. It's almost impossible to imagine something you can't even see. So give your imagination a rest. Tune in to the Showplace Network and experience advertising on local television with the impact and appeal of sight, sound, and living color. You can't imagine a better way to buy or sell. So show it, say it, and sell it with media partners on the Showplace Network.
There were no endorsement deals, no video games named after them. Their reward was knowing that given the chance, they excelled. Classic Sports Network salutes the men and women who leveled the playing field and paved the way for the modern athlete. Watch for special Black History Month programs, including special nights hosted by Spike Lee and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. All this month on Classic Sports Network.
Here it comes. From Daytona Beach, Talladega, Rockingham, Charlotte, Atlanta. From the most famous team in auto racing, the 76 brand and NASCAR have been bottled up in one smooth-running motor oil. Over 1,000 NASCAR victories. When you win this many races, the reward's gotta be big. Ask for 76 NASCAR high-performance motor oil.
Today in NASCAR history is brought to you by 76 NASCAR High Performance Motor Oil. Works for NASCAR, works for your car.
The 1975 Daytona 500 looked to be another duel between David Pearson and Richard Petty, and it was in an unusual way. After a cracked radiator put Petty 8 laps down, Pearson began to run away with the race. But Petty decided to help second place Benny Parsons draft his way up to Pearson. And on the final lap, the Silver Fox spun on the backstretch. The result? Benny Parsons, who had almost quit racing altogether, won the Daytona 500, February 16th, 1975.
Congratulations, Benny.
Thanks, Chris.
What did you think when you went by Pearson?
I said, you know, this can't be happening. This can't be happening.
You know, Benny, I've asked you about the races that you've won, and you say, well, I can't remember everything about them. But I bet winning the Daytona 500 back in 1975, you can remember every lap, can't you?
No, I really can't. I remember Pearson spinning out, and I couldn't believe it. That's what I was talking about when I was talking to Economac. It was, I can't believe that Pearson spun out because you never saw that 21 car in any kind of trouble. And as I went down the backstretch and saw him spun there, I'm riding along. Man, can you imagine David Pearson spun out? Wait a minute. I just won the Daytona 500.
Was that the biggest moment of your career?
Oh, yeah, by far.
Now, Benny, coming up this week at your hometown track, Rockingham, North Carolina Motor Speedway, making some rules changes. What's it going to do through the cars? Because it's taking away downforce, right?
I talked to a lot of guys, John, and they said that it really didn't change the car a whole lot. I think that it will after about 30 or 40 laps. What they've done, folks, they've reduced the rear spoiler by about an inch. They've raised the front spoiler, or front bumper, front air dam by about an inch, which is trying to reduce the downforce on the cars. It's going to make the car want to slip a little bit more getting in and make the car want to push a little bit more in the corner. But again, we're only talking about that much, and the guys can change springs and shocks and help that situation. They told me it didn't hurt the car a great deal. In 50 laps after a long run, that's when it's going to start making a difference.
Everybody says that the Taurus, the body style, produces a lot of downforce on its own. Does that mean the Tauruses might actually be the car to beat this weekend?
Well, we'll see. I mean, we don't have any idea because I don't think the teams really know a great deal about the car. At Daytona, they were trying to figure out where to position the car on the chassis to get the maximum help, downforce, or aerodynamics. They really don't know a lot about this car. The Thunderbird, they've worked on it for a long, long time. In 3 or 4 months, we'll have some of these answers, but not at Rockingham, not in Atlanta. It'll take half the season before we really have a lot of answers.
Now, Benny, we got a late-breaking story, and Bill Engel is gone from the Stavola brothers and driver Hut Strickland, and we understand that Bobby Allison has been named to work on that team as an interim consultant. So, man, we're one race in the season, and already some changes going into Rockingham. And, Benny, we got some email for you I want you to take a look at now. And this email is from Dave Hildebrand of Las Vegas, Nevada. He asked, what was the NASCAR inspector looking for under Earnhardt's car after the race?
Well, Dave, that's a position that the transponder for the electronic scoring is located on the car. And I guess that he was turning it off. It'd be interesting to see if the transponder is still on the car sitting in Daytona, USA. I don't know if he was able to do anything, but that's where the transponder is located, and he was either turning it off or taking it off the car.
Talked to a NASCAR official today, and they said they weren't quite sure exactly what was going on. But if you'd like to email us, visit ESPN.com on the World Wide Web. Go to the auto racing page, and at the bottom of that page, you'll find a link to take you to our email page. And you can also reach Benny through NASCAR Online. So, wow, Benny.
Wow.
Getting up there.
I didn't know that.
You didn't even know that.
I didn't know that.
Benny, thanks a lot, and it's good to have you back from Speed Weeks of Daytona. We'll talk to you next week about the Rock.
Okay, John.
When we come back, we'll take you on all the wild rides of Speed Weeks 1998. Speed Shots is next.
And let's start with the brewmaster for just a moment. The brewmaster is the chef. And that is the key brewmaster role, to understand the blending of his or her ingredients. Not only he or she tastes the beer every day, there's another person who tastes the beer every day, and that is me. The ability to have hands-on brewmasters working with the finest ingredients gives you Budweiser.
Call Thrifty at 1-800-4CARS for low rates on the most popular cars on the road. Thrifty gives you a great value on every car in the fleet, like a roomy minivan at a mini rate for just $39.95 a day. Finally, you can rent a car that won't cramp your style or your budget. Just ask your agent for the minivan special. Get a minivan at a mini rate when you call 1-800-4CARS. And best of all, it's Thrifty.
So, Netboy, this ESPN Gamecast thing is really cool. How's it work?
Well, Mr. Bodine, you just point and click and you get live game data presented in a graphical interface. What I do is I take real-time stats event data, FTP via TCP/IP, parse using proprietary ESPN software, and I push it on the net to Java-enabled browsers.
Check out Monday's Fast Fact. In the last 12 Daytona 500s, Dale Earnhardt has completed all but 6 laps. 5 of those last year. We'll be right back.
Since we switched to Quaker State Motor Oil, we've been very successful. So when my crew chief said,
Check it out, Jeff. 3 new synthetics from Quaker State.
why change a good thing?
Different engines can need different protection. Quaker State knows that.
Well, we tested them. And guess what? Now we're winning with the same oil you can buy at the store.
Quaker State. The choice is clear.
Do you need cash? Thousands of families have turned to J.G. Wentworth for money for medical expenses, business opportunities, debt consolidation, and new homes. If you're receiving periodic payments from a structured settlement or personal injury award and need cash, call now. Once again, if you're receiving structured settlement payments over a long period of time but need cash, call now.
Call 1-800-469-1544.
The pyramid builders died of exhaustion. Instead of working in sensible shifts, they never watched hockey. Now they're dead. Watch the NHL on ESPN2 before life passes you by.
Not only was it a big weekend for Dale Earnhardt, but the top rider on the AMA Supercross Series also made some big news. Jeremy McGrath won at the RCA Dome in Indianapolis Saturday night, giving him 64 career Supercross victories. That is a brand new series record. McGrath, by the way, beat Larry Ward to win the 250cc race. McGrath rides a Yamaha. On Tuesday's show, Dr. Jerry Punch will begin his round of house calls. That's at 7 Eastern. We'll see you then. Good night, everybody.